This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning and welcome to Bushwalk. We're live at Eco Training Pridelands and I'm sitting on one of my favorite little rocky outcrops and enjoying a sunrise and listening to all the different bird calls. It's absolutely stunning at the moment. There's so much bird life that's actually about. So my name is JP LaRue and behind the camera we've got Morgan. Meanwhile, we're just going to pan onto our beautiful sunrise that we have, and it's lovely to see all the different colors that it's actually reflecting off the clouds. So our plan for this morning is to sit and listen over here to see what we can find, and then hopefully come back towards the dam a little bit later on our morning as the temperatures start increasing, and a few of the animals might come down to come and quench their thirst. But then let's listen to all the sounds of nature first. So we're also more than welcome to ask questions for us. If you would like to forward those, you can forward them to the WildEarth site, and we'll gladly answer those for you. Questions also make our life much easier because then we know precisely what is the right type of information as well as specific interests that you have, and we can make it a little bit more personal. In the meanwhile, let's go and see what the weather is doing.
As our morning starts, this fellow's day is ending. He's been feeding throughout the night and now he needs to go back to his pond. Good morning everybody, my name is Chris and welcome live aboard Wendy again for this. Hopefully it's going to be a lovely morning. With me on camera ops today is BK. And we're going to basically be looking at going back to Talamba this morning and see if she has returned to that Impala carcass that she was feeding on yesterday. But in the meantime, let's just watch this old Hippo bull. Well, I'm hoping it's a bull. Let's just watch him return to Djuma Dam. Good morning, James, and welcome aboard. Well, the last few days has been nothing less than spectacular, and I'm sure today is going to be no different. Well, we're off to a good start. Always a treat to see some hippo out of the water. Just fascinated by the way he's going so slowly in here. As often they will have a specific little pathway that they use to get back to their water body or pond or even river. They normally move in with some speed. And we do know that, we're right at Djuma Dam, and as we can recall, there's been 2 bulls in here that has been sort of challenging each other. So it could be that this particular one is now just wary of the other bull that could potentially be here. We have not seen another hippo yet, but that might explain the caution entering the dam like that. And I just heard my first woodland kingfisher. I was a couple of days late. I said the 15th. Where are we now? We tend to lose. It's the 18th. I got mine. I've got mine. Finally, I can join the Woodland Kingfisher Club for this season. Might have been a bit far to pick it up on the audio here, but it was definitely there. BK, have you were Steve when you heard it, or is it also your first one?
Yep.
Oh, BK is also in that club with us now. And I promised I'll share a short story about the woodland kingfisher. And it's a family member of mine's favorite bird. And it is actually my eldest uncle, who's unfortunately not with us anymore, but he was such a patriarch in the family itself, and well loved, and that was his favorite bird. And even today, every time any of us hear that, it's sort of like a little tribute to that particular family member of ours. Always reminds us of him. And I was also personally quite attached to this uncle of mine, and sort of like whenever I hear a woodland kingfisher, it just brings me back to a lot of childhood memories with him. Anna Marie, well, I'm delighted that you also got it there. So then I can have confirmation that it is my first woodland kingfisher for the season. I've not yet seen one. I know Steve and Mike, who was at Pridelands, is definitely well ahead of me there. And knowing JP, he would definitely have seen one already. He would have gone and searched for one. Wow, it's lovely to start the morning and just sit at a waterhole before we go out and see what Talamba's up to. Right, just to elaborate on our plan a little bit before we head off. Steve will elaborate on his very soon. And we're going to work the north and western areas of Djuma. That's where Talamba had her kill yesterday. If nothing, or if there's no results there, then we'll readjust and then probably work our way further down towards Twin Dam area. It would be amazing if we can visit the owls a bit later. That's something we can potentially look forward to, as well as we can possibly head past the Hyena den site and see if there's any movement there. And along the way, we will be looking out for tracks of as you know, anything that might interest us. And then obviously look for any other little treasures along the way. And they come in many forms. So that's roughly what our plan is for this morning. And feel free to let us know if there's anything particular that you would like us to try and find for you. And we will try our best to facilitate.
I've always dreamed of Africa since I was a little girl. And then I just decided, you know what? It's time to come. It's time to just live the dream.
If you want to go on safari with a Wild Earth guide, whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
It is so exciting. You're able to see the difference of what you see on TV to how much work it actually is creating what you see on TV. The leopards, mareeps. How could you not really fall in love with that cat? He's got such a personality, and you never know what he's going to do.
Sign up to be a Wild Earth explorer, and you could be making your first ever on-screen appearance.
It's about just being together and seeing and enjoying the animals and the great outdoors. It's just been a great experience. Certainly, if anyone's able to, dare to dream and come.
There we go, look. All three in one frame. Look at that, isn't that cool? Oh, that is so special. That is exactly what we had been hoping for, is all three of them to come together and make the perfect little family portrait.
What fascinates me most about the animal circle of life is the intricacies between the large and the very, very small. I mean, it's very easy to go out there and find the large. Once you found the large, the cascading effect down to the small absolutely fascinates me. Alertness and situation awareness is by far the number one aspect for protecting ourselves out on safari.
Catch up with the guides daily here on Wild Earth.
Look at this amazing picture. The sun has risen, but still there's these beautiful colors around, and just with those dead trees in the background. It's just this lovely moment that we're going to have now in silence and just, wake up with the African bush. Hi, Joyce. Yes, no, it's a stunning morning. It's not that hot yet. And I'm hoping that it will be another cracker. That's just lovely, eh? And same with yesterday evening when we had a similar moment with the sunset, and you could hear all those birds sort of announcing, we're done for the day. We're going to roost now, and I've got the same thing, just all those birds waking up, everybody is vocalizing. There's so many different calls. And I think this is a perfect moment to head over to Steve to say good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Djuma. Welcome to my vehicle. And it is not hot yet, Chris. It's already sweltering. Hello, my name is Steve, joined by Impala on camera, and we are very excited to have you with us. Now, we found leopard tracks, tracked him down, he's exited. We found buffalo tracks, they've exited, and the lions seem to have followed. So a huge herd of buffalo from last night basically walked through a massive section of Djuma and walked straight out the north, and seems like the lions have followed them. So there we go. A few objectives for the morning were to track down the buffalo, it's gone. Track down the male leopard, also gone. So what we're going to do is go back to an area where there might be some elephants, spend some time with some elephants, because that's very precious time, isn't it? Just got to dodge all the buffalo poo on the way. And every now and again you've got to feint left and feint right. And Paul actually commented on my feinting just now, because there was this dung beetle that came straight for my face. But I was wise to him. So it is a lovely morning, although it is going to be a very warm day. I can feel it. You know that when it's already this hot before 5:30 in the morning, you know. I remember going on bushwalks in Mashatu, and it was already 32 degrees at 5 o'clock in the morning. You know that there's a reason why you get up so early in the summer. Excuse me, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Might have lots of buffalo scent and aroma in my nose, so I apologize if it does happen. Hello, Viello. Good morning to you too. Good morning to you. We always have a good morning, don't we, Impala? Now, I also came out of my room this morning, and on my way back from making coffee, I found young male leopard tracks walking straight through our garage area again, past our room. I think Shasha maybe came for a little session last night to say hi, and I was already sleeping. Sorry, Shasha. I missed you. But we do find it very difficult to track the leopards when they do walk through our camp, because they go through the other side to the Gallagher drainage, and then, well, they vanish. So who knows what might happen this morning. But there are tracks of big game everywhere. We've had elephant tracks, buffalo tracks, lion tracks, rhino tracks, and leopard tracks already in a number of different places. So that's what's quite amazing about understanding tracking. is, especially when you're on bushwalks, is you don't actually have to see those animals to know that they're around, and that gives you that sort of that feeling of, goodness me, there's big animals around here. And if you're on bushwalk this morning, gosh, you would have seen everything. Everything's foot, anyway. Bushwalks are never guaranteed to see animals, but tracking and the small stuff. Start with some leopard tracks. Val, good morning from a chilly UK, where you are looking forward to anything we find. Well, let's start off with what we believe to be the body mark and tracks of Milwaukee. Let's have a look. Right here at this junction. How's that? Yeah, excuse me while I climb out. Now this is what we found first this morning as we were looking for our junction. And you can see he's actually, might not be Mawati, it's not that big. And he lay here, 1, and then 2. I thought initially there might have been a mating pair happening here. And then the tracks go off in that direction. So we're actually going to keep following that one because it's not the biggest footprint. So a male leopard track was found at Treehouse Dam. So I thought, let me leave this one. But let's follow this a bit more because, well, it's nice to follow tracks in the morning. I actually think my nose is about to stop bleeding. It's not that I'm going to sneeze. These hot temperatures do that to us. I'm going to have to plug it with some dwarf sage. Now the reason why I thought it was maybe a mating pair is because there were 2 patches there of lying down. Now it's not impossible that there is a mating pair. I mean, Tortoise Pan and Shinzele were around. And then as you go onto this road here, there's another 2 patches where leopard lay down, right over here. Right there and there. And it's very possible, now that I'm looking at it again, there's a male, and that could be a female. It looks quite small. So a leopard lay here. Hi, leopard. And this is something that's very, very interesting. This is one of the ticks from the buffalo that has fallen off. She's gorged herself and fat. And what she's done now and fallen off the buffalo, she's actually moved through over here and she's going to lay all of her eggs, and that is what forms all these pepper ticks that we complain about. Okay, I'm going to put you back on the ground. Good luck laying your eggs. And I'm going to go jump back on the car. We're going to track this. I don't know if it is a mating pair, but that could be very exciting indeed.
Recently, WildEarth viewers around the world experienced the birth of a brand new hippo.
Oh, look at the way it's walking. Oh, the guys, this is so precious.
This tiny calf has started its life in a large lake next to an award-winning game lodge called Chitwa Chitwa. If you sign up to be a WildEarth Explorer before the 1st of December 2021, you and a friend stand a chance to win a 3-night stay at this award-winning luxury lodge. Along with unwinding on the deck and relaxing in the pool, you may even catch a glimpse of this brand new hippo whilst on one of their unforgettable safaris. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature. We know how important it is for young people to have a connection to nature through our live safaris. They are the future protectors of the planet. Over the years, we have been joined on safari by schools from all over the world.
Seeing those students connecting with somebody lifetime in Africa, what else could you ask for? It's just an incredible experience for everyone.
Believe it or not, that is the dropping of a giraffe. Do you believe that?
Students, about probably 3,000 from New South Wales have just enjoyed this live streaming.
And we learned that some trees are male and female. That's pretty cool, right?
We were able to experience what it was like in South Africa and to see a whole lot of different creatures.
Is it just pretended to be dead? Oh, that was amazing. I can't. How do I? It's like that is hands down the coolest.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth Daily.
Welcome back to Bushwalk. So Morgan, our cameraman, and myself, we're just discussing how important rocks are in the natural environment and how everything what is actually influenced by rocks in that area. The rock type that we have predominantly over here is actually dolerite. I'm just going to show you a little bit of these dolerite outcrops. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how they have formed. These rocks have actually formed millions of years ago. And they're actually a molten mass of a rock that has actually solidified underneath the Earth's surface. And depending on the depth at which it originates, as where it solidifies, it will determine eventually what it will become. We see that the majority of the other weathered material that was on top of this has been eroded and weathered away. And this is the end product that we see here today. One of the things that I do find quite interesting about those dolerite outcrops is that when they weather, they actually weather due to exposure to large heat extremities. And a few weeks ago, we had temperatures of almost 51 degrees in the direct sun, while the temperatures in the shade was roughly some 44 degrees Celsius. And later in that afternoon, we also had a thunder shower, and that cooling process that took place is what actually breaks the rock into smaller fragments. And these smaller little fragments and fissures it's created is also very important as it creates home for a number of different lizard species. These include giant plated lizard as well as some of the flat lizards and rainbow skinks, which will use these little cracks and fissures to hide away from predators. But they also will use it as ambush points to catch small little insects and things that are moving about on the rock itself. A few other things that I do find particularly interesting is that rocks will actually determine what type of soil we have in that specific area, and combined with the type of climate, that's going to influence the vegetation structure which we find in that specific area, which again indirectly will influence which animals we'll be able to find on our next safari. The area over here has quite an interesting soil type as it's quite clay, and therefore there's also quite a lot of thorn trees in the area as well. While we're sitting on our rock and looking what's going on in the area, let's go and see what Chris is up to.
There we go, from audio to visual confirmation of the woodland kingfisher. any of my family members, cousins, uncles, aunts are watching, I know a few of you are very big WildEarth fans. This one's for you guys. And Uncle Peter. You all know what I'm talking about. Definitely one of my favorite birds, not only with regards to the sentiment it holds for me, but it is an extremely striking bird. You know, it's just facing us now, and we can get very little of that lovely electric blue coloration on its back. You can see a little bit of it towards its flank. Hi, good morning, Leslie. Yes, indeed. I do have a bird list. I can't give you the exact amount. It's actually on an app that I use, which I do not have with me at the moment, but I think I'm in the region of about just under 400 birds. So nowhere near some of my other colleagues. I only really became very serious into birding sort of midway through my career. And I'm not talking about, you know, the general birds that we have to get to know, but I've not yet started doing sort of pelagic birds, marine birds and those things. Only starting really to get into that now. There's quite a couple still in the greater Kruger that I still need to tick. And I'm slowly but surely expanding the list. You know, going into other parts of the country as well. And, you know, it goes quickly initially. So your first couple of years, you pick up a lot of species, or lifers as we refer to. So lifers is basically a bird that you've not seen before. And as you go along, that frequency of finding lifers sort of dwindles down a bit. You know, you might find a new one every couple of months. All depend on where you go. And we have Birding Big Day coming up soon, which is an event where the entire country, everybody who's keen into birds, just takes one day and try and find as many species as they can. It's an event that I look forward to as well. But yeah, it's roughly just under 400. It's 391 or something like that. But I'll get the exact amount a little later. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of species to go. We've got 996, I think, in South Africa. So I'm just under halfway there. Anyway, let's continue. We're not far from where we've last seen Talamba yesterday. So let's link to Steve in the meantime, who's also bumbling around at the moment.
Well, we are trying to frame a warthog. But the warthogs, as I've joked many times in the past, they subscribe to the show and they know that these vehicles often mean there's leopards or lions nearby. And off they went. So we just bumped into the WildEarth expedition team with the one and only Mr. James Hendry. We'll be having dinner with the crew this evening, which will be quite nice. And yeah, they were backtracking those male leopard tracks. It's only one. At one point there might have been a female, but it also might have just been the way he was lying. But it's one male leopard, went all the way to Treehouse Dam. So most likely Mawati. Big tracks. It is his route. It's a route that Hukumuri used to frequent, although he's gone a bit more to the left. So we're going to carry on with our plan of going to find some elephants. This morning, in our attempt to track the buffalo and lion down, we bypassed lots and lots of elephant. Like Keisha, you want to know how many leopards I've seen since I came back? So on the WildEarth expedition, the first leopard I saw was Shasha. No, I'll go through the list. Shasha, Talamba, Tandi, Maribs, Langa was the first one I saw. Tawangumi, Kara, Airfield, Mawati. I think that's all I've seen. All I've seen. So another herd of buffalo spent the night here. I'm not sure if you can tell. It's not very obvious, is it? Landmine field. So that's 9 leopards. There might be another one that's going to pop up that I can't remember. There's nine leopards. And I've seen Talamba a few times. I've seen, did I say Tandi? Tandi, Maribs, Talamba, Tawangumi, Kara, Mawati, Shasha, Langa, Airfield. Saw him in, where was I? In Tortwood. Not bad, 9 leopards, 3 weeks. So the minefield of buffalo, another herd of buffalo entirely was here. So I'm going to go check our western boundary now, see if there's some buffalo there, because you can see this dung is very fresh. It hasn't been processed. There's only some flies on it. There's more than one herd of buffalo around. They are moving in and out. But the other herd that we were tracking this morning has gone north. I can assure you of that. We tracked them. But the reason why I like to track buffalo down, everyone, is there's always that possibility of suddenly getting a herd of buffalo. I mean, a pride of lion chasing them, which is something that I haven't really managed to spend too much time doing. When I spent my early career at St. Gita, the lions there were very good at catching giraffe. We saw wonderful giraffe interaction. We saw wonderful buffalo bull interaction. But the herds of buffalo eluded the pride there. The pride used to chase them, but not know how to pull down or separate an individual. And it just goes to show how specialized lion prides become. You know, some of them are buffalo experts. The Ukuhumas are buffalo experts for sure. I believe the Talamatis are, although every time I've tracked them, they've often gone the other way from the buffalo, which I've always found quite frustrating. And then when I do track them here, they cross the boundary. So this is what it is. Now these buffalo seemingly have gone this way. Red Dam is over here. So we'll see where these buffalo have gotten to. They might have gone in and drunk, and who knows, come back again, and with them might come in the pride.
If I could take you on safari all day and all night, I would. But unfortunately, it's not always the best time to see the animals. Now, in between safaris, you can watch the WildEarth Channel with loads of extra shows. If you have a connected television, Apple TV or Roku box, then download the WildEarth app, and if not, then just find it on the App Store on your phone.
Staying one step ahead is the key to survival out in the African wild. And now you can stay in front of the pack with a WildEarth weekly newsletter. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and you will get exclusive behind-the-scenes stories about your favorite guides and camera operators. Information about our upcoming plans and projects will be delivered to your inbox every week before anyone else. And you can hone your guiding skills by taking part in our Identify Me nature quizzes. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Hello, boy. You are a monster. And he's coming right up to us. Hello, boy. Oh, settle down. Settle down. He is very, very close. He's pushing his trunk against the car. You can feel the car moving. Hey, 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 hey. Stop that.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth Daily.
Hi, my name is Tristan Dix, and I am a guide here at Djuma Private Game Reserve for WildEarth. We love connecting you to the African bush, and we always look forward to all of your questions. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, you'll need to register on the website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit a question below the live feed. Catch up with me on WildEarth.
I love being a cam op for WildEarth. The animals coming right up close to you, especially like lions. Sometimes you get nervous, but you have to go with the flow. My favorite animal to film is the elephant because of how big it is. But when it's really up close to you, it's one animal that you would say, I really respect you.
Welcome back to Bushwalk. We just walked up to this knobthorn and we noticed that there was a large number of holes inside this tree. And a few days ago, I've also noticed that there was a hornbill that was disappearing into this hole. It was taking mud with it, but also what I did notice is that it was taking food into the hole as well, which would suggest that it's currently nesting, as birds will very seldom fly with food because it can potentially be taken away from them. And two of the bird species out here that is quite well known to steal foods from other birds is both a lilac-breasted roller as well as a fork-tailed drongo. So therefore, that's a good little strategy to look for, if you are looking for nest, is to see if birds are flying with the food. To come back to the nest, quite often we find that the typical hornbill nest is sealed up with a combination of mud, as well as feces, as well as insect remains. And we also find quite often that certain species of hornbills will deliberately use millipedes when they are sealing up that nest entrance, as that they've got certain toxins which will keep parasites away from the nest. One of the things that I do find particularly fascinating with hornbills is that once a female has been sealed in, she loses her feathers on the inside over there. And that actually helps for insulating the nest, and then she will regrow them while the male will bring food. Once she's regrown those feathers, then she will also break out. And generally we find that the young reseals the nest entrance, and only when they are fully ready to fly, they will then start breaking open the nest again. And quite often you'll see them outside that nest entrance on trees, flapping their wings, strengthening them so that they can use them for flight. There is a story that's been going around in the guiding industry which is absolute nonsense, and this is that if a male dies, the female will start calling to attract another mate. No other male in a natural environment will actually assist with actually raising the young of another female. And the story also goes further that the female will otherwise die in the inside. What simply will happen is she will just break out and continue life as normal, but no male is going to come and rescue her in that case. We also notice that on the next side, to the side of the nest entrance, there's a small little rock fig that started growing on top of the tree. Generally, when we do find rock figs, we find them on rocky outcrops where they will start growing. They're also quite often responsible for splitting rocks into smaller parts. Unlike the strangler figs that we have in the area, we find that these rock figs don't kill the tree off as the strangler figs would do. And meanwhile, while we're waiting for our hornbill to return and see if he's going to bring something to the nest, let's go and see what Steve is up to.
Well, the tracks are in the road and end up smelling them. So they lay here just on the western side of the road. in Arethusa. This other herd of buffalo has gone and drunk. They're not far from a red dam. I think there's a road up ahead here called Zebra Drive, or the one above us here that goes into Arethusa, takes you to the watering hole there. But it looks promising. It looks like the way some of these buffalo are starting to get up is with their face pointing towards Djuma. Now, we were discussing in the previous segment about why I like finding buffalo. First of all, they're quite interesting. They really are. There's always something going on. Even if they're lying down, they're busy doing something. And something I'd like to get before leaving at the end of this month is a buffalo lion hunt. I know it can be quite traumatic and quite difficult to watch those things, but definitely feel like I'm going to manifest that energy, and I do feel for the buffalo, but you've seen how many buffalo there are in these herds. And one here and there picked off by lions is all part of the process. Bearing in mind, when lion hunt buffalo, there is enormous risk to them as well. These formidable, that would be a nice picking off a young female. But these formidable adversaries do not like lions. From the day that they're born into this herd, there's a battle going on between the two species. It's all in balance. A few years ago, the white muscle disease that hit the lions was transferred to them by the buffalo who were very low in condition due to drought. Now, droughts often cause herbivores to lose condition, and you see a spike in predators because of the amount of prey that are easy to access. But because there's a balance, there's also a cascading downward spiral, and the lions also took a bit of a hammering. So when you look at any graph of prey-predator sort of number increases, there's always an increase in prey followed by an increase in predators. And if there is ever a drop in prey, the exact same decrease is recorded in the predators. If the predators kept going up and the prey numbers went down, you'd get over-exploitation, over-utilization, and balance would not be there. But nature has a wonderful way of balancing things out. Her own systems, her own dynamics for managing this very intricate system. And they're brown-black, I suppose. Coffee brown. Depends on what kind of coffee you like. The youngsters are more of a chocolate brown. And as they get older, they get darker and darker. But to be honest, in my colour palette, there's only about 8 or 9 different colours. Most of the ladies that I know have got about 274 colours. Guys are very simple in their colour. It's black, it's white, it's grey, it's yellow, it's blue, it's green, it's red, purple. There's no mauve or salmon. There's definitely a lot more colours being spoken about these days. So, boy, what colour are these gentlemen? These are buffaloes.
Brown.
Let's see. And Paul is going to go straight for the word brown. There's no chocolate coffee there at all. It's just brown. Because as guys, we like to keep things very simple. But I'm getting very in touch with my feminine side, so I'm trying to delve into the realms of trying to categorize colors slightly differently. And we'll get there. We'll get there. That's a process. There's some conditioning that needs to be unlearned. Hello, Song of Rain. I'm not really sure how they got the name Boss, for the buffalo horn, but it's not essentially both male and female. The male has got that. Let me see if we can find you a big male here. Obviously, there's not one available at the moment. There's one just there. This one here. Yeah, so that big, round, helmet-like structure is actually a huge honeycomb effect inside there, and that is being called the boss. I don't know if it means something, but it's the boss of the horns. So it's the conjunction, it's where they join, it's much enlarged, it's where buffaloes headbutt each other, where they force each other's heads against each other with incredible pressure and a lot of power. It needs to be reinforced to a degree. When they fight lion and things like that, it's the curve and hook of the horn that does all the damage, as well as their feet if they trample. But big male buffaloes use the boss of their horns for pushing and fighting each other. So how exactly got its name, I'm not sure, but that is what the boss is called. But the females don't have a boss. They've just got where the horns attach. I suppose it's just called the skull. I don't think it's got its own specific name. A wonderful bit of cloud has pulled in, obscuring the sun, making everything a lot cooler. Maureen, you love how the buffalo ears pattern looks like butterfly wings. Well, if they flapped hard enough, they could probably fly away. And obviously, the size of the ears is for hearing. They've got very good hearing, buffalo. Their eyesight's not as good as their hearing or their sense of smell. That's why they hang out in groups. More individuals definitely do see better. They're very vigilant for the most part. And their ears work very well for keeping flies away from their face. Constant flapping motion. It's an incessant battle they have with biting flies. Okay, well, we might see if these buffalo cross, and if they don't, we might go track down our elephants.
As a naturalist, it's really important that I stay up to date and up to breast with what's happening in the wild and the world around us. The WildEarth app helps us do that and helps us stay abreast with the live interactions of animals every day. We're going to be here at Stony Point bringing you the African penguin story, and we'd love to see you on the app. See you on the beach.
Our lives are dictated by alarm clocks, traffic jams, constant multitasking, and countless distractions. The wilderness is where many of us feel the most human. On a bushwalk, we become part of the natural landscape. As you step off the vehicle, everything comes alive. As with any risky experience, walking amongst these animals inspires awe and appreciation. Now, it's your turn to go on a bushwalk. Join us from Pride Lands as we slow down our thoughts, put aside our distractions, and reconnect with a place that first taught us how to be human.
Guys, just watch what's happening. See, watch the elephants, watch the lions. See, the first ones to run are the cubs. Can you see them? They are right here. I'm not sure how scared you were, but I was quite nervous. But absolutely incredible.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth Daily.
My favorite animal is a leopard, purely because I just think they are just the epitome of feline grace and power, and the way they can move about in any environment and remain hidden until they want to be seen, I just find incredibly intoxicating, and they're amazingly beautiful.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
Alright, just to update, we have gone back to where Talamba had the kill yesterday. There is no sign of her there. There is still a tiny little bit of meat left on that carcass, although not a lot. So a couple of things could have happened here. She could have gone back to the cubs, which is what we sort of established yesterday afternoon, evening, and spend the night there and have not yet returned, or she could have decided that it's not worthwhile to go back for just a tiny bit of meat. She had a good fill and she might just stay with the cubs for now. We will not know for sure. The reality is she is not there. All right, so could be a good plan to go back there a little later. I'm sure there will be either one of the WildEarth vehicles, either Wendy or Rusty, or perhaps one of the Djuma guides might go and take a look at there later. So we'll also be keeping an ear out on the radio comms. Oh, there's some Nyala. Look at that. They've been absent for a bit this last couple of days. Usually see quite a lot of them. Yeah, so we'll watch the Nyala. Just coming back to Talamba. So my theory is that she's still with the cubs along the drainage where we think she might be denning. Yeah, hi Darcy, good morning and welcome aboard. Yeah, it's a new day in Africa, and every day is different, and that's what I love about it. No 2 days are the same. And it seems like you're also enjoying and love Nyala. I think they're extremely pretty antelope. And what I like about this scene in particular is where we see them. As you can see, we're along the edge of a drainage or a ravine or small sort of seasonal river, these little drainage lines, and this vegetation around it is what we refer to as riparian areas along the edges of rivers and drainages. Very dense, very lush, very green. And this is Nyala's typical preferred terrain. You can see that it's like a wood, almost like a forest. It's a very nice area for general birding as well. Especially quite a number of the small little birds. Now, I've been told a story about one of my colleagues years back, and the local language in this particular part of South Africa, the native language here, is Tsonga, or also referred to as Shangaan. And they also have a name for onions, and that is Nyala as well. They refer to onion as Nyala. And interesting is he said that if you look at those stripes of a Nyala, does not remind you of an onion that's cut in half, you know, those rings of the onion, those stripes. And because onions, as we know it, is not native to Africa, it was something that was brought in. So now you've got this sort of new foreign vegetable that didn't really have a local name and just applied Nyala to it, you know. Seems like these Nyala are heading deeper into the woods, and let's head over to Steve, who's doing some tracking.
Hello everybody. Well, we moved on from our buffaloes who were left sleeping, and we thought, well, we might do some tracks this morning, do some big five tracking. I mentioned earlier that we've seen all big five animal tracks already this morning, and you might be able to tell. There's a toe, and there's another toe, and the back is not very clear because of the substrate, but there's a bit of a W over there. Very nice to see these tracks around. Very big. If I put my hand there, you'll see that it's very big. It's probably 28-30 centimeters. And if I show you in the book over here, you'll be able to quite clearly see how there's the toes, the three. One in the front's very, very big, and at the back there's a W. Now, the white rhino track is quite large, 30 centimeters, about as big as it gets. But the black rhino, something to pay attention to is you see that we don't really see too many in this area. I've never seen. But the side toe here is almost the same size as this one in the black rhino. So if you're not sure, have a little look. Obviously, black rhino tracks don't get as big, but go and take your measurement, your finger, measure there. That fits in twice, whereas the black rhino there would essentially encapsulate the front toe as well. Let's see if I've got it over here. There we go. It doesn't look like it in this picture, but when you're looking at it on the ground, it makes it much easier to see. The track is much smaller, but they are very nice animals to come across when we do find them. So that's a little bit of tracking this morning. We are along some more tracking to see if we can find some tracks to talk about. And who knows what else. We might pop into the hyena den. If you're keen, interested. No? I'm sure everyone is very interested to see what's going on at the hyena den. We did manage to get Ribbon suckling her cubs yesterday, which I think broke the internet. I got lots of messages, private messages from people saying thank you for doing that. So we shall try and do that. Okay. But for now, we're just going to check the boundary. Nice, slow little bumble. I'm also going to double check that Mawati crossed out, because he is a leopard that when people find his tracks, they don't follow because he's skittish by nature. So when the Djuma guy found what he assumed to be his tracks, he just said, I'm not going to follow. But I've had quite a bit of luck with that gentleman. And I think he likes me. He likes me. I was the one who gave him his name. Not that I gave him his name, but I made it up. Jesse, will the Rhino stand about this tall? He's next to you. 1.8 meters. Rhino bull. Taller than me. They don't seem very big, but when they stand next to you, they're a tank. They are a tank. Way taller than you, Gwen, I'm sure. I'm sure. And a big white rhino male can get up to 3,500 kilograms. That's big. Very, very big. What's that? 6,000 pounds. 7,000 pounds. Yeah. And that can turn. Almost on a penny. I've seen it. Not on a penny, but you know what I mean. A 5 rand coin. Hello everybody, welcome back live. We're sorry about the technical issues that took us off air there, but we're back. Now before we lost you, I was answering a question from Shiraz, who was asking me, what do I prefer, to see a half-hearted hunt or a hunt all the way through? Shiraz, it's really hard to say what I prefer. I mean, just seeing these animals behaving in the wild is so incredible. And they do miss a lot. There's lots of failed attempts, but seeing a hunt go from start to finish and the actual end thing happen is hard for many people to watch. It always gets my blood up and my heart rate going. It's difficult to watch, but we've got to observe sometimes and have some sort of, what do you call it, a bit of compassion. There's a bird at 9 o'clock there. Can you see him, Paul? The white-crested helmet shrike. You've got to have compassion for both the predator doing the hunting, because they potentially have babies to feed. So if they don't succeed, or if they get injured, you know, they're putting themselves on the line there, trying to hunt. And then the prey animal also, you know, these animals have evolved. For example, now we've got this white-crested helmet shrike moving through the bushes looking for caterpillars. Do I feel sad for the caterpillar? Or do I feel happy for the bird that has gotten something to eat? You know, even the impala feeding on the grass and the wild flowers, there's still a form of predation happening there. So it's all about balance, you know. When the buffalo wins and chases the lion off, it's incredible to witness, you know. And when the lions overcome the strength of the buffalo, it's also incredible to witness. When the leopard stalks up and catches its prey through cunning and skill and patience, it's incredible to witness. And when that impala, through its own sixth sense, manages to avoid that predator without actually knowing it's there, just having this sort of feeling that something's not right. Although it doesn't look as exciting, it still is nature playing out its role. And at the same time, watching a bird feeding in the bushes, catching itself some breakfast, is all about nature's, it's hiding behind the bush, obviously. It's all nature playing its role. The seasonality of what plays out here, the leaves are growing back because of the rain, the insects are blooming because of the rain, and the birds are coming here to migrate and to breed, and so on goes their lineage. The food is provided for these organisms, and their numbers, just like predator-prey balances I said before, if the caterpillars collapse, the birds collapse. So there's no overutilization that happens because nature is always in balance. Well, it sounds like Chris has found somebody. I wonder who he's got.
So, as promised, we are done with the den of the Djuma clan, and at the den itself there's no activity. Seems like the cubs are not out at the moment, and also no sign of the ribbon either. And let's see if I got this one right, and I would love to comment. I think this is Corky. So just send us a tweet if I'm correct. So doing a different challenge today. We'll see if I can guess it right. I just got a feeling I'm going to be horribly wrong. I only see these three. Okay, we've got Giraffe Girl and Picky. That says they also think it's Corky. And we'll go to the other individuals just now. Let's just finish this one first and see if I've made my assessment right. Hi, JC. And this is indeed a Hyena roadblock. I don't know what we will do. It's interesting looking at that paw there. And since Steve was tracking leopard this morning, whoops. You see, why I think this is cork is those very specific cuts in the ear is what I'm remembering. So I'm slowly but surely getting every single character and trying to find out a specific marking or a spot or something that can help one identify it. Search it a little bit and see what happens. Don't think it's going to be much, but yeah. Let's just do it.
Look at that. It's amazing. Wow. Hey.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Live.
Oh, that's cool. Just in there.
And the black mamba's going up the tree and the mongoose is attacking it.
It's gonna pounce again.
Sure, you can all agree with me. It's not a bad start to our Wednesday morning.
Something that I have never seen before in my entire life that you are now watching live.
Look at that. It's just beautiful. Fantastic display by a little herd of springbuck.
How is this view?
My heart is in my mouth, everybody.
Amazing, they've locked their tusks together. You can hear the cracking branches.
It is so incredible to spend this time so close to an African penguin, and it's completely unfazed by my presence whatsoever.
How insane is that animal?
Amazing.
Awesome. It is fantastic to watch.
Now we've got a tug of war between mom and daughter, look.
Just at a loss for words, yeah. That's just incredible to see that.
Welcome back live, everybody, to Treehouse Dam. We've got a herd of elephants that are slowly making their way down towards the water. I'm not sure how long that's going to take. It's not very hot right now for them, so they might take some time. So we thought we might just take a seat, have a cup of coffee, and just spend a few moments in silence, soaking up this beautiful view. peaceful morning, Jason. Indeed, a very, very peaceful morning. I'm going to spend a few more moments here, see if the elephants do come down. And while we do so, Chris is still with his hyena roadblock.
I think I'm going to be stuck here for the entire day with this very serious roadblock. They're not going to allow me anywhere near that road. So I think the one on the far side in the grass is Swazi, but I have not seen enough to be able to really take a very good guess at that. It's just been lying down there, and that's what I basically can see. The only one that looked up every now and then is the one closest to us, who I believe is Corky. And the one lying just next to on the road, also just based on what I can see, there's not enough that I can honestly say I know who it is. But it is hyenas, and for me that is the most important. Hey, good morning, Alan. Alan wants to know, how do hyenas communicate? Okay, Alan, so the most common method is through sound, vocalization. We hear the long distance communication, that typical hyena, that whoop type of sound, and that is long distance. So short distance, they make a lot of sort of growls, and then a very sort of well-known laughing sort of chatter that they make when they get excited. So they use sound quite a bit. Then body posture, facial expressions are also used at close range. Even rubbing against each other, smelling each other, all of that are forms of communication. They'll also communicate through chemicals. So when they urinate in certain areas, at middens, for instance, as well, there will be urine as well as feces, and there will be certain chemicals in there that other hyenas can interpret when they move past there. And then also, they've got this little anal gland as well that they use to mark against grasses and twigs, which also carry strong scent, and that also can be interpreted by other hyenas as to the status of the individual that moved past there. So lots of ways they communicate. All right, I'm still waiting for confirmation from our viewers whether my guess was right on this animal, whether it is Corky. I think I'm right. And I just want to sort of continue with that.
Welcome back to Bushwalk. We're still sitting at Ndlovu Dam and we're watching a grey heron at the moment busy preening itself. A few moments ago it actually had its wings open, and one of the reasons why they do that is specifically to try and keep their wings in. And what they're doing by exposing it to the sun, they're actually destroying harmful bacteria which might damage the feathers. So once a feather is fully developed, it no longer grows, and therefore it has to be maintained. We also see that birds sometimes will annually get rid of a molt by displacing it, while larger bird species will sometimes molt over several years to replace those old worn feathers. Another way of keeping your feathers in good nick is actually simply by taking oil from the preen gland and smearing that onto the feather itself. You'll also notice that there's a few other strategies that they will take to do that, and that might range from water bathing to dust bathing. We've also got a troop of monkeys that are coming towards the water's edge. And it seems a number of these females actually have tiny little babies hanging underneath their bellies. Let's see what they get up to. Looks like the same group that we had here yesterday, and they had a small little altercation with some of the thickneys, which wasn't very happy with them around. It's possible that the thickneys might have a nest, and what they did is they opened their wings and pushed the monkeys away from the watering hole. Just like most other animal species, monkeys are also incredibly cautious when they come down to water holes, because they are also vulnerable to predators. Thickneys are starting to move towards the monkeys. Let's see if they actually do that threat display where they open their wings and push them away. Most of the time, the biggest threat for monkeys is pretty much leopard. And I've actually watched leopards actually going after them in trees. Good morning, Heather, and welcome to the show. You're 100% right. Monkeys never fail to do something. Just like elephants, they're constantly busy doing something, and therefore they're incredibly entertaining subjects to look at. And they also provide guides with a lot of interpretational value. Unlike lions, which tends to sleep for most of the day, and especially once it's heated up, it's pretty boring to sit and watch a lion that's sleeping. However, I do love watching lions when they are actually actively hunting or actually doing some other activities. So as a guide, I always try and find a lion as quickly as possible in the morning, as early as possible, before they actually go and settle. But let's come back to our monkeys and see what they do. Some of them already had a drink and it's now starting to move off, while the others are still at the edge of the water. The two thickneys are still watching them. It seems that they've moved a little bit closer. It might actually be that they actually distracted them away from where the nest is.
After all these years of watching WildEarth on your computer, you can now watch it through your Connected television or Apple TV or the Roku box. If you're like me and you're always on the go, you can also download the app onto your device and watch it on your phone.
Do you dream of traveling to a far-flung wilderness location where life continues as normal? A place where you can escape to nature and breathe. If you become a WildEarth explorer, then this could soon become a reality. Subscribe today and stand a chance to win regular travel prizes. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Guys, have a look at what we've got. This is better than my birthday. Look at that. This is the first time that I ever see cubs this small. This is so special. This has officially just become my best sighting of all times.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
My name is Steve, and one of my favorite things at WildEarth is getting questions from you. The type of questions that I really like are those ones that really help us to unpack and understand and really integrate the ecological knowledge and fully appreciate the importance that animals such as these Cape buffalo bring to the ecosystem. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, you're going to have to register on the website. But once registered, just head on over to the live safari page and enter your question under the live feed.
It's a huge privilege to be in these incredible places with these amazing animals. I love filming lions. When they do get up and do something, it's always spectacular. When they are playing, are incredibly fun to watch, especially subalterns and cubs. I love being in the bush and working in these incredible places with these amazing animals. We want to bring it to you so that you can almost feel like you're right there and be able to experience it and enjoy it the way we are.
Right, we're back. Seems we just had a very brief dip in signal there. Right, so a lot of the viewers agree that this is Corky, and the one that was next to her, we believe, and that was my call as well, that it's Ndebele, and I still think the one in the far side in the grass is Swazi. But we'll get confirmation later, as we can probably try and reposition a little later. I don't want to do it now. They seem to be just so happy sleeping, and I would be really selfish if I reposition now and, you know, disturb their rest. Anyway, my previous segment I was chatting about how Steve was pointing out a leopard track, and just looking at the structure of hyena paw print, which you sometimes can confuse with leopards. Now, they're two different predators in different families. Cats in their own family of predators, as hyenas are in their own family as well. And as you can see in the back of the paw there, the cushion, it only got 2 lobes. And I'm sure Steve has pointed out the 3 lobes that are characteristic of cats. And as well as you can see, the toes are very closely packed around the frontal part of the pad, and almost like a sort of kidney-shaped toe, not a very oval-shaped toe like that of leopard. And then the claws are fixed, so most of the time you'll see those claws sort of markings in the track. Just to elaborate a bit on Steve's story there from earlier. Just another question that Steve had, that he did mention, if we could elaborate on it, is the origin of the word boss in buffalo bulls. Now, I'm not certain either, but I believe it is a reworking of a Dutch name for base. But I'm not 100% certain, but I do have a feeling it's probably something to research a bit further as well. Well, back to the hyenas. Giraffe Girl commented that she agrees that this is Corky, Ndebele, and Swazi. Well, it looks like I'm getting there. There we go. So that could give us a bit of a better idea. Good morning, Gerald. And Gerald wants to know if those cuts or tears in the ear, let's use Corky for instance, if those are natural. And yes, they are natural. That would be caused by fighting ticks could have caused it, necrosis or, damage caused by ticks can often do that. It could be running through the bush and a thorn might have snapped it. It's a lot of reasons why they could have it, but mostly due to fighting. And then secondary would be ticks. That could be the main cause there. Such a peaceful scene, isn't it? Like I mentioned, a very peaceful scene this. Don't always have to have action and things running around and biting each other and chasing antelope and climbing up trees, and sometimes just to see different behavior, even if it's not immediately exciting as one may think. But I think it's important to have these type of events where you just have them sleeping and just get to know different stages of their behavior as well, and enjoy and appreciate it. And it's just such a calming scene here. Pardon. Hi, Lucy. Lucy wants to know, what do I find most interesting about hyenas? Yeah, there's quite a lot of things actually, but I want to narrow down to maybe one thing, otherwise I'm going to keep you busy for the next 8 drives. They are very interesting. Now, firstly is, we know they're a female-dominated society, matriarch or alpha female, whatever you want to refer to as the leading female. So that's already for me quite interesting, but that we see that in other animals as well. But what we got here with hyenas is that the females not only dominate the males in terms of social structure, but they are in fact much larger as well. So there's a dimorphism thing there that interests me quite a lot, and I'm not going to delve into how that happens. I mean, you start talking about some serious genetic development and embryo development, there's a lot of very, very complicated terms that we're going to be using there. But it's got to do with certain hormones during the stages of development of the embryo into fetus. But yeah, so that the females are substantially larger than the males. So they have the more masculine build, and the males the slightly more feminine build. And it's just the total opposite of most other mammal predators. And how they have evolved to be able to have this particular social structure that just makes them one of the most successful predators in Africa. And that's something that really fascinates me. Another thing that fascinates me is how quickly they can adapt to changes in food resources. Moving from scavenging bones to taking down prey twice their size. Working together as a group. So it's just say they're just extremely adaptable in that sense. Shiny Bucks wants to know where they are on the map. Alright. Let's quickly take a look at what we got here. Alright, make sure that we got the right zoom here. Right, so this whole map is the immediate area. So we got Djuma's property right here. Alright, so I'll zoom in later to show you exactly where it fits into the entire Kruger region. Alright, so we've got camp right there, which is sort of in the north, mid-north, central north, and twin dams right here where I think Steve was waiting for the elephants. The hyenas are literally just north of there, like probably 200 meters north along that road, just along there. And very close to our southern boundary, as you can see. So, and then you always heard about Chitwa, which is now a little bit further this way. So that's right there. Chitwa lies south of there, just as a matter of interest. And Djuma, and then we are right here. To give you an idea, this is about 4,000 hectares, which is just close to 9,000 acres. Just to give an idea of the entire size. And if you look at this map over here, to give an idea for those who just want to know a little bit more about exactly where we are within the Kruger. So if you look at the map of the Kruger, I don't have a full map. We are right on the western edge of the Kruger. It makes that little bulge there in the south, and then it continues northwards. So the Sabi Sand Reserve lies right in that corner. There you can see the Sabi Sand Reserve. And then this whole map area is that little square that you will see there. So why I'm saying this is just to elaborate on the size of this region that we work with. Now, the Sabi Sands is about 65,000 hectares. And it's about 140,000 acres. But the Kruger National Park is 1.6 million hectares. And including all the APN, or the Associated Nature Private Nature Reserves, Sabi Sand, Manyaleti, which is our neighbors. Further north you have the Timbavati, the Umbabat, Balule, Tlasiri, and all of those, if you incorporate them, what we refer to as the Greater Kruger Park region, we're looking at 2.2 million hectares. That's 5 million acres of conservation land. And then it extends into parts of Mozambique and Zimbabwe, which makes it one of the largest uninterrupted conservation areas globally. And that is why we can sit here with hyenas and still be able to do that. And that is just an amazing feeling.
Hello everyone, my name is JP. I'm one of your Wild Earth eco-training bushwalk guides. So for many years you've been watching Wild Earth directly from your laptop or computer. However, now you can watch it directly from your connected TV, your Apple TV, or from your Roku box. And if you are like me, always busy, you can now download the Wild Earth app and view it directly from your mobile phone.
Look at this. The little one is up and about. Certainly hasn't had enough milk at this age. No amount of milk is enough. Oh, Corky. Too sweet. Oh, look at this. That is stunning.
Tune into Wild Earth every single day. It's in your nature.
Hello everyone, my name is Trishala and I am a naturalist and safari guide here in Djuma Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands in South Africa. I think that the information that we provide, and most importantly the questions that you ask, give both you and I a really good idea of what's going on. My friend Fernando here, he's a flat-necked chameleon and I love them. They're just these gems that you manage to find in the bush.
Catch up with the guides daily here on Wild Earth.
I got into wildlife filmmaking because of a passion for nature and a notion that I could make a difference. Helping others fall in love with nature brings meaning to what I do. It's also a lot of fun. A couple of times per week we receive some very heartfelt messages from viewers telling us about how Wild Earth has made a difference in their life, whether it's helped them through a difficult period or simply helped them to reconnect with nature. I think that's why we do what we do.
Welcome back, everyone.
We located a male ingwe on Torchwood.
We have moved back into the northern section of Djuma to follow up on the lions. There's a Djuma vehicle who went north. It says that the lions seem to have come back in. So we just had to give a hand and look at what we found. We found some little trotters. The Warthog breeding season a little bit early. But we've seen a number of little piglets out already. They're very cute. Normally they run. This little family seems to be quite interested in us. They're here on the fire break, enjoying the nice new green grass, new verdant green grass that's emerging. The black collared barbet calls behind us. And it's probably last year's offspring, the little one showing us its bottom, trying to play with Mum, and Mum's going, listen, stop playing with me, I'm watching what this vehicle's looking at. A little bit of face pushing. It's very cute. Now again, after the discussions we've been talking about ecology and habitat, competition, warthogs will den in holes in the ground, in cavities. Let me try and move slightly forward. Hopefully they don't run. Cavities in the ground. Warthog use burrows created by aardvark, excavated by other animals as well, and because there's competition they need to do so. I was in Leopard National Park in Malawi where there was some leopard around, but lion had been completely eradicated due to poaching over the years, and African parks moved in and they were re-fencing and recolonizing and repopulating the reserve, and the warthogs at that point had forgotten about lions and would sleep outside. They'd be out at night feeding, they'd be eating, going around doing their thing. That's a classic example of fundamental versus realized niche. If you've forgotten what I mean by the two of them, fundamental is the entire area and landscape an organism can occupy without competition, and the realized is the actual area in the landscape an organism occupies with competition. Competition is from other grazers as well as from predators. And you take the predators out of the mix, warthogs can do what they want. Put the predators in the mix, and they are very susceptible to being eaten. So in Lwandi, very classic example, there were no lions for some time. The warthogs got quite complacent and slept outside. They reintroduced lion. I wonder how quickly the warthogs realized that sleeping outside and feeding at night was against the question. Remember, the niche is not just the habitat that they occur in, but also the time of day that they're active. Now, we know warthogs are active during the daytime, but take away the predator, and I've seen it, they are active at night. And why wouldn't you be? Why would you go hide away in a burrow all night if there was nothing to fear? And those that do hide away in a burrow where there is competition generally have more babies than those who don't, and so that trait is passed on. Quite inquisitive. Look at those little things. Zanella, there's no male here. That is an adult female with an offspring from last year, the smaller one. And the very, very small ones are this year's offspring. There's no adult male, so adult males are much bigger. That's the female with her youngsters and probably a hanger-on from last season who doesn't quite get the picture that it's time to move on. And just like that, off they go. Really nice to be able to see warthogs and to get little piglets on camera. We have been trying, but for the most part, they're a little bit jumpy. And rightfully so, there are lots of predators that hunt them. And warthogs feed quite low to the ground. They are grazers, but they're also able to ferret and shovel the ground so as to access the roots. So they do create disturbance, which is a natural process. Take the predators out of the mix and warthog populations will boost and boom and actually degrade the vegetation. There's a lot of areas in the Eastern Cape that warthog numbers are out of control because of the lack of suitable predators. And too many warthogs lead to too much disturbance, which leads to overgrazing, which leads to soil erosion. And that is once again a very good example of how the balance of nature, if played with, can lead to destruction. So you unbalance the predator-prey population, and the knock-on effect down the way is the silting up of your estuaries. Isn't that interesting? Too many warthogs affect the fish population down in the stream many, many kilometers away because of the erosion, which leads to the soil washing into the rivers, which leads to sedimentation, which leads to silting up of the estuaries, which affects the hunting fish. They can't see. It affects the breeding fish. They can't see. And it also changes the habitat there entirely. So what happens upstream affects downstream. What happens to our oxygen here happens to your oxygen, wherever you are. It's all connected. We're all connected, and we need to maintain the balance and order of things, because that is instrumental to the survival of us as a species and to the myriad of species that are currently dependent on our actions.
The Masai Mara in Kenya is an iconic wilderness filled with life. Its inspirational beauty has captivated our hearts on WildEarth for many years. While this season of the world's greatest migration has been missed, WildEarth is preparing a spectacular comeback in 2022. For the first time ever, WildEarth will be running expeditions to Kenya's Masai Mara throughout the 2022 migration season. Hosted by David Githu and Isaac Rotich, you could be a part of the team that shares the Wildebeest migration with the world, live on WildEarth's daily safaris. If you're interested, then head over to our website to find out more. WildEarth knows it is critical to help as many young people as possible to connect with the natural world. We hope that by bringing the wilderness to our future conservationists, we will inspire a love for nature and perhaps plant a seed which will flourish in the future. Over the years, kids from countries all over the world have joined us on safari.
I really enjoyed learning about the leopards and the cubs and how they hunt and live.
We got to see different types of antelopes, and we also saw our male lion's tracks.
I got to learn about like different types of animals in their natural habitats.
It was like we were on a real safari, so it was kind of cool. We got to see a lot of unique animals.
That whole safari live video just inspired me to fulfill my dream of becoming a safari guide as well.
The croc is still holding another one there. It's holding from the hindquarters. I would really want the wildebeest cross. Is it trying? The croc is holding the tail. It's holding tight. Oh no. Goodness me. Lucky, lucky wildebeest. You have another day to leave.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth Daily.
We have the wigs. Just going back to that map that I showed earlier, now they are very, very close to the hyena den, about 300 meters in the drainage below. So we thought it's a good opportunity to just come and say hi. Amazing how much more darker feathers Twiglet has developed. And a couple of days ago it was almost still entirely grey-whitish. And those eyes. It's also a first for me in terms of, and I've seen this species a number of times in my life, and chicks, but to have this opportunity to see this chick develop over time, something I'm really looking forward to. And every time I'm off air, I also take the opportunity to take a few photos as well. So I'm on a little bit of a mission at the moment to try and photograph all the birds on my list. I'm starting a new list, and it's my photographic list of birds that I've photographed. And I'm only on something like 100 at the moment. It's a very different thing to see a bird to photograph it. Good morning, Lance. And Lance just mentioned how amazing it is how quickly babies grow in the wild. It is rather fascinating, isn't it? And there's some purpose to that as well. One has to grow very quickly here to survive in most cases. Unless you're an elephant, who's the largest land mammal, where you can grow slowly because you have the protection of a whole herd of 4 or 5 ton animals. But other than that, especially if you're a smaller creature, you need to get going. There's no time to waste. So therefore they have evolved this very quick sort of childhood, if I can put it that way. And this is across a number of species, from birds to reptiles to mammals. You know, this is a recurring tactic, if I can put it that way. Second chance. Just going back to a few days ago when there was a Wahlberg's eagle flying around, she used deception at the time. So she moved away from the nests to attract the drongos and the Wahlberg eagle, and she did sort of hiss at them. I think that would be arguably her best defense, is to use stealth, firstly, and we've seen her cover the chick at times as well, which is mainly for temperature control, but she is a lot more cryptically colored, and her camouflage is much better than the chick at the moment. So she will cover it. That could be one way, so using stealth, and then also deception. I think smaller things you might try and fend off. If it's a small snake, or, you know, she might be able to. But I think very important as well is the way she chooses her nest. I think that is probably one of the most important things. And I think this is a very good nest. It might appear exposed from where we are, but we're very much lower than them in the drainage, so from above, they are quite hidden. There is a tree that covers them. You can just see the base of it there. And so they are relatively well hidden. The tree is a small jacket plum, is the tree that she's under. I can't really show you now how to identify that tree, but if I get another jacket plum later on, I want to show you. It's got a very typical characteristic leaf. Maybe we can see a bit of it there while we... Oh, there we go. Yeah, Beaker, you are on the ball. So it's got a typical round leaf, and the veination on the leaf has got this what we refer to as a herringbone pattern. It's like, you know, like the bones of a fish after you've stripped off all the juicy meat. And then coupled with this very sort of pale, ashy type of bark. So that's called the jacket plum. It's right above her, and that gives a fair coverage from above. I don't know, something's just off. It's like, you know, babies are cute, but they don't really resemble the adult immediately. That takes time. There's very few birds when they are born that looks a lot like the adults. I think it's very cute. I think it's a very cute little bird, although, you know, at that stage now where there's a lot of proportions that are sort of out of sync, and as they start losing the chick feathers, the new ones come out. It's going to look a bit scruffy at times. That's normal though. It will be normal. Good morning, Leopard lover. Yeah, that's going to be a very difficult one to answer. I don't really know. And even with the adults, there is very little dimorphism between the species. So it's going to be quite tricky. I will have to get a slightly more expert view on that. And maybe next time I'm down here, I can hopefully answer that. I will need to dig into that one a bit and maybe get in the help of. I do have a few friends that are ornithologists. I can maybe find out for you. To be honest with you, I don't know how it's going to be. Once it's fledged, yes, then it'll have the adult appearance. I think it's something like 40 days or something like that. But whether you'll be able to tell the sex right away, I don't know. A good person to ask is JP. I know JP is one of the most accomplished birders that I've met in my career. I know he's always learning more and more things about birds. Might be a very good idea to get JP's view on that. We'll see if we can get that somehow for you. But on my side, I will also try and consult some of my colleagues and friends and acquaintances who are very much on a much higher level in terms of birding. And last time around I was here, there was a lot more birds. But we're probably going to be moving on. Just want to see if we can't find maybe something else. And we'll revisit the two of them very soon again. And then in the meantime, let's head over to JP, who's at the dam.
Welcome back to Bushwalk. We just got an elephant that came in to come and have a drink, and from there he progressed to the muddy area on the opposite side of the dam. I think he's most likely going to start kicking loose the mud very soon and then start spraying it over his body to cool himself down. Let's watch him and see what he gets up to. So So for those of you that have joined us for the first time, quite often we'll notice that elephants will come down towards water and they'll either spray water directly over their bodies or spray mud on top of their bodies to cool themselves down. It's not the only ways that they can cool themselves down. At the moment we'll notice that this elephant has actually pushed out its fifth leg, which definitely indicates that it's a bull. And by exposing the penis either directly to sun or shade, it can also assist in terms of bringing down the temperature or increasing the temperature. And sometimes we'll also notice that they'll even use it as a fly swatter. It's getting really down in the mud. So just to those of you that don't believe that elephants do go down on the ground, we do often see that adults will go on the ground both to go and roll in mud, as well as we more often see this behavior with young ones. A few other times I've actually seen a whole breeding herd of elephants where all the adults were lying down on the ground on a shaded area underneath the trees. And that was because it was an incredibly warm day and the ground temperature was much cooler than the air temperature at that point. We also sometimes find that they will flap their ears to simply cool themselves down, as they can bring down their temperature by 3 or 4 degrees by simply flapping the ears. Good morning, Oliver, and welcome to the show. Yes, I love watching them doing this, and especially when they start covering themselves full of mud. You'll probably notice, if you haven't seen elephants doing mud wallowing or watching elephants wallowing before, and very quickly after they've covered themselves with mud, they will either go to a dusty area, cover their bodies with more dust, or go and rub themselves against a tree. And all the trees around this dam has basically been covered with mud that's been smeared onto the sides by elephants. Those of you that have joined us for the first time as well, but when we do find animals wallowing, it's generally 4 groups of animals that we see that do that. Firstly, it's always warthogs, and if you get a mud smear that is at knee height, then you can possibly indicate that it's warthog. As it becomes progressively taller, it goes to buffalo, eventually rhinos, and their shoulder height is pretty much here by 1.7 meters in height, and anything above 1.7 meters up to as high as 4.2 meters, that will be elephants. However, the average elephant shoulder height is in the vicinity of approximately 3 meters.
Recently, WildEarth viewers around the world experienced the birth of a brand new hippo.
Oh, look at the way it's walking. Oh, the guys, this is so precious.
This tiny calf has started its life in a large lake next to an award-winning game lodge called Chitwa Chitwa. If you sign up to be a WildEarth Explorer before the 1st of December 2021, you and a friend stand a chance to win a 3-night stay at this award-winning luxury lodge. Along with unwinding on the deck and relaxing in the pool, you may even catch a glimpse of this brand new hippo whilst on one of their unforgettable safaris. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature. We all have a busy schedule and a lifestyle which is confined to stress and tensions. For so many of us, the hustle and bustle of a tedious life has meant we have lost our inner peace. Traveling is an ultimate remedy that lets us unwind and helps us experience peace in the lap of nature. WildEarth encourages the benefits of travel by giving away an amazing prize every month.
I was totally overwhelmed to receive this fantastic prize of 3 nights at Chitwa Chitwa. WildEarth has been a lifesaver for us during the pandemic and has kept us sane. Thank you so very much, WildEarth.
Sign up to be an explorer today, and it could be you jetting off on an all-expenses-paid-for safari experience. WildEarth Explorers. It's in your nature.
Hello, Mama. Just checking us out, everybody. There's no aggression here. Very relaxed. A herd of elephants moving around your car like that is truly, truly magical.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, we haven't seen any track of those lines. We've been giving it a bit of a scratch around. The lines are probably in the block where I last saw the tracks, on top of buffalo tracks, probably inside that block. Either they caught a buffalo or they missed and are sleeping. It's very hard to tell. It is a decent... Sure, I nearly hit myself with that same stick. Thankfully, my ninja skills are quite on there. These dung beetles helping us to work on the blocking, dipping. Yeah. Lovely little bumble this morning. Nice to just sort of cruise around. Now, we did leave Shasha just here last night. I thought I would just, on our way through the middle of Djuma, to get to the other side where we last had those lion tracks. Just have a little look. See if we managed to catch something. Always worth checking all of these trees here, because you never know if he has caught something. It could just be hanging out. Well, JP's hanging out. Sounds like he's got some more elephants.
Welcome back to Bushwalk, and it sounds like the guys in the Djuma team is having fun moving around this morning, looking at a number of different things. However, we're also having a lot of fun here at the Waterhole, as we've got a lot of birds as well as some animals coming in the last few minutes. Our elephant has just been mated by another larger elephant that came in. First, there was a little bit of bullying taking place. The smaller one showed a number of submissive behaviors. And then things calmed down, and the other one also started having a little drink. But let's see and watch what they get up to. So for those of you that haven't been with the show before and would like to know how to separate males from females, at the moment the obvious is sticking out. We can see the penis hanging out. But generally we can look at the head profile, which is much more rounded in bulls. And this is an adaptation that they can push their heads against one another when they are fighting. And a third thing that we can look at is the angle of the chest towards the groin, which is quite angled, where with cows that line is pretty straight. And when it comes to cows, they've got pretty much more of a square-shaped head profile. We can also just simply look at the social structures in which they move. The younger male in this group is most likely somewhere between 12 and 15 years at the moment, and has probably just left breeding herds. The other one is probably closer to 20 or in his early 20s. However, the only accurate way of aging elephants is by actually looking at their molars, which is not possible for us at the moment. And you find that there's a more consistent size ratio within the bachelor herds. We also find that some of these bulls, they start looking on their own, and they will normally go on their own year from 25 onwards when they start looking for cows. Some of them will reassociate with bachelor herds and then move out as if they go into must again. When it comes to breeding herds, a large number of different sizes, right through from little calves ranging from 120 kilograms, as much larger females that has a ratio of weighing between 3,000 and 4,000 kilograms. we're sitting watching our elephants. Let's go and see what Chris is up to.
Just had a lilac-breasted roller in the road. Sorry, I'm just looking directly into the sun. Where is it? There it is. Fortunately. Oh, it's a pity. It was just such a lovely... I'm just going to move out of the shot. Off it goes. Off it goes. Off it goes. Right. Seems like JP's having fun with those elephants up there at Pridelands. We've not seen any elephants today. Well, myself and BK. We know they will come around. Yeah, we've got a little bit of time left on this drive, so we're just going to take it easy now. And just look around for anything that can be used. Oh, there we go, there's the roller. So I've not yet seen the European rollers yet. Some of the fellows around here have, but I haven't yet. Remember that lilac-breasted is a resident roller. They don't migrate. We did see a purple roller 2 days ago, which is also very colourful. A little less than the lilac-breasted, but still a very pretty bird. Off it goes. Off it goes. Nice. I was hoping to try and get a photograph of that one, but light wasn't good. Right, let's continue. Let's see what comes up. That's the one bird that I've not yet managed to get a decent photograph of. Now, I'm not just saying get it on a photo. You want a proper photograph. Coming back to my photo list. Hi there, Ellie. Ellie wants to know how to tell the difference between a lilac-breasted roller and a European roller. Yeah, there's another lilac-breasted roller. Okay, I can't really see the colors. Right, so firstly, the lilac-breasted has that sort of purple lilac breast, or chest rather. Much more variety of colors. The European or Eurasian rollers are mainly a sort of lightish blue throughout with a little bit of brown on the wings. So much less different colors, mainly blue and brown. And they have these little tiny, thin little stripes on the throat as well, which you can only see when you're close. And you will see them usually in groups as well as they arrive. So not nearly as colorful as the lilac-breasted roller, but similar in size. So this is still the lilac-breasted roller. And the blue on the lilac-breasted roller is much more intense, much more of an electrical blue, almost similar to the woodland kingfisher in a way. And the European or Eurasian roller is a more pale bluish color, more of a washed out blue, if you want to put it that way. Well, there's two different populations of Eurasian rollers that do migrate here. There's the Middle Eastern population and the European Asian population, and that's two distinct subspecies, and there's this little difference in their coloration. And if and when we do find one, I can show you which is which. So there's two distinct populations that come from the north that comes to southern Africa when it's summer here. So it's referred to as a Palearctic migrant. I do know that in the south of Spain, at times just before they start moving over the Mediterranean into Africa, the European race, there's a brief period, I think in October or something like that, where you see quite a lot of them in southern Spain, the Eurasian rollers, apparently. Gone. Just like that. It comes back. I think it just went for an insect or something, and it doesn't seem to have been successful. Yeah, and then another thing, that white on the face, you know, is more pronounced with the lilac-breasted. Hi, Patty is asking if this bird actually does a roll in flying. Yeah, that's where the name roller comes from. They do this sort of almost somersault display at times when they fly. It's a mating display, and that's where the name roller came from. So they do these rolls in flight. That's usually only when they are breeding. It's like a breeding display to impress the ladies. Hi, good morning, Flask. And Flask mentioned that loves all those colors, and yeah, absolutely, it is arguably one of the most colorful birds out in this area. She's trying to balance with that branch moving in the wind. Good day, Leslie. It sounds like Leslie is asking, do I see a lot of migratory birds, if I'm correct? And it, right, so I just was waiting for confirmation on that. He's referring to ringed migratory birds. I've not seen many, if in fact very few, and it doesn't mean that they're not there. You know, often they're too far away to pick up the ring or something like that. I have seen an Amur falcon that was ringed. I saw that. Not here. It was elsewhere in southern Africa. Not sure where it was ringed, whether it was ringed here, and then, you know, when it moves back to Russia. And let me think, what else have I seen? The only other ringed birds that I have witnessed was vultures and ground hornbills, but again, they're not migratory, so they don't really count. That's just local southern African research is being done. But you should be able to, and I think if you get close enough and with a decent set of binoculars every now and then, you'll probably see some ringed migratory birds. I know there's a lot of that happening. There's a lot of research that's being done on certain birds, migratory, just to follow movements. Not only rings, there's also transmitters being fitted. And just personally, I've not seen many of them. Right, let's... Sorry, well, the sun is getting quite intense on my eyes at the moment. Right, so BK and I are formulating a little plan for this afternoon. We're going to have a themed drive, and we're not going to tell you yet. We're still playing around with a few ideas, but there will be a theme this afternoon with Wendy. Wendy, BK and Chris, we'll have a themed safari this afternoon. And you're going to have to wait until this afternoon to see what it is.
The WildEarth Channel now runs for 24 hours a day and is filled with exciting wildlife experiences for the whole family. In addition to our twice-daily live safaris from Africa, our Escape to Nature series features exceptional wildlife footage throughout the day, and here you can immerse yourself in the sights and sounds of nature. And finally, a brand new penguin experience where you can follow the lives of a group of African penguins daily and in real time. If you want to join in on these experiences, then head over to wildearth.tv/channel to see where you can watch. Escape to nature with WildEarth. If you love to watch WildEarth, then we are inviting you to join our Explorers program. For a monthly subscription, you will have the opportunity to win fantastic WildEarth expeditions, join our guides for a chat around the fire, receive weekly highlights from our shows, and much more. All the money will go to keeping these live safaris on air, which in turn allows us to escape into nature every single day.
Something very, very interesting. I didn't plan this, but this is a scene rarely seen. This is what we call a journey of giraffe. So beautiful.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
Hi, I'm Mike Anderson, and I come to you live every day from Eco Training Pridelands Conservancy in South Africa. The wild animal I think is most underrated. I think buffaloes are the most underrated. They're so tenacious and ferocious, and also very, very protective of each other, which I find incredible. You know, sometimes people think of the big five, they just think of lions and leopards and other big animals, but I think buffaloes are pretty underrated.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
Welcome back live with us here on the Djuma, everybody. We're Paul and I are just scratching around on the west side on one of the roads that has not been visited this morning. One of the roads that would have sectioned off the block that the lions potentially went into. Now the vehicle that was following up has abandoned the chase, so we just thought we'd just give it one more go. Nice little slow meander into Stanley Patch. We will lose signal as we head further up that road, but we just want to double check that they haven't popped out. And if they haven't, then they're inside that block there. Which means if I get an opportunity, I might do a little meander. Maybe. If there's time, we'll see how we go. Almost got this intuitive feeling in my belly that we're about to bump into something big and hairy on the road. And I'm not talking about impala. Deborah, I haven't, no. They tend to avoid each other, the Talamatis and the Ukuhumas. But I do think they do have interactions from time to time, but I've never seen them actively fighting. We're going to stop here, turn to the left, and this is a spot with some signal, so we'll be able to at least show you the size difference between an adult and a baby impala, little mini-me's. These open areas are areas that the Talamatis and many of our leopards like to come and visit. Quarantine is a similar sort of open area. These areas are manipulated to create these open habitats where many animals will feel safe and secure to hang out. You don't have these open areas and you'll have a very less density of animals around. This habitat's very important, and our leopard and lion are constantly visiting them, looking for some food, as they are very productive in that regard. Excuse me. Excuse me, I just swallowed something. Andrew, it is lovely to see all the impalas and lambs, and there we go. One ran, and off they go. All they did, ran, one male amongst the group. Lots of youngsters. Start putting them into these little nursery groups. And yes, we do see many animals hunting baby impala this time of year, but it doesn't seem to dent the population. It is the impala strategy of flooding the market. Many will survive past those first few weeks, months, to the difficult time. But they provide food for such a wide variety of prey animals, from rock pythons to wild dogs to martial eagles and even baboons. White mane, no, they don't allow suckle. An impala lamb who loses its mum is going to have to learn to eat grass very quickly. Very quickly. Now the female goes off and gives birth to the baby quite well hidden away, and they pick up on each other, they imprint on each other's smell, and that's how the mom's able to walk into a herd of 25, 30 impala lambs and know which one's hers, and vice versa. So if any other individual tries to suckle, she'll just kick it away, butt it away with her head. She is saving her milk for her youngster. She doesn't have time or energy to give it to somebody else's baby. And their youngsters are the closest to them. Even though these animals all hanging out in a group, it is all a very selfish affair. their strategy of hanging out together is all very selfish. It's not for the betterment of the group, it's for the betterment of one individual. You stand in the middle of all of that and you're statistically less chance of being caught. That's why at this time of year, Impala females away on their own giving birth are at quite high risk of predation. So as soon as they can get back to these groups, the safer they potentially will be. Okay, well, we're going to head up Sandy Patch Road and just see if the lines have popped out at any point across there, just to make sure that we know where they are on the property. In the meantime, let's send you back over to Chris.
All right, we have found a tortoise shell that's relatively fresh. And I just have to also just mention that for those who could be sensitive viewers, this might be a little bit intimidating. There's no gore and stuff like that, but it is an expired tortoise. This animal has been eaten by something, and we'll get to that just now. So this is the leopard tortoise, in fact, and you can clearly see why we have all these little spots. Now, I'm not going to go into the story about leopard tortoise. We want to continue on a story that we mentioned yesterday. Remember, we had the hornbills yesterday, and I did mention that they even eat tortoises. It's actually quite one of their preferred foods. Now, that long beak of the hornbill, they'll often try and peck it through here, usually with the larger tortoises, and then with the smaller ones they'll either flip it and go onto the bottom, try and open it up there. But in this case it appears that they have opened it on the side, and you can clearly see that hole. Now that is where the hornbills will continually peck it with that hard beak until they can sort of break open these scutes, as we call it, the covering on the shell, and then obviously the bone inside, and then they hollow it out from there. So this is very likely to have been done by ground hornbills. The smaller species of hornbills are not really capable of doing that, but that is almost telltale that unfortunately this guy has met his fate to ground hornbills. And then again, always as we, and it's a bit of a personal philosophy as well, is that, as much as we understand and know that this is the circle of life, it's never pleasant to see these animals expiring. But in the same breath, we also know that it is important. It's flow of nutrients. There's also limiting factors. Animals need to be predated upon to keep numbers intact. And it's just that flow of nutrients. We know ground hornbills breed very slow. They need food. It's all part of the whole ecology of the area. Very rare opportunity to really get close to the shell, because normally we don't pick up live ones. But interesting how this happened. Yeah, so maybe we can see the hornbills later again, and we also believe they might actually be breeding here at the moment.
The reason I decided to buy a ticket to Dream is I really want to experience what you guys experience, see what Lauren sees what BK sees.
If you want to go on safari with a WildEarth guide, whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
My favorite part about WildEarth is probably the escape. Just to spend the time pretending you're in the wild and being on those vehicles just removes you from reality for a little while.
Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and you could be making your first ever on-screen appearance.
My favorite part about today has to be to meet Maurice. To see him, obviously, oh, amazing! But to meet Maurice was amazing. Yawning and just pretending not to see the Ellie, it's beaten my expectations by a mile.
With a slew of potential dangers lurking, it's essential to be aware of your surroundings whilst walking in the wilderness.
20 yards away from one of the most endangered species. This is a big bull.
What a moment, what a close encounter with an Ellie bull. He's just over here now. He's moved completely away.
Being on a bushwalk and seeing a leopard, I mean, it's ridiculous to be this close to a leopard on foot and for him not to run is absolutely insane. How crazy was that?
Through the gap there is just the back of the head of a male lion. He is absolutely unaware that we are here right now. I'll tell you, seeing lions on foot, it definitely brings out the caveman in you, this little scared human being.
Looks like it's a very difficult climb because every time it tries to climb, the ground is breaking, so it slides down. But it's the only one. Look at that. That is the call of desperation with the cub. It's like, what are you doing, mommy? Oops. Oof.
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth daily.
Wow, just saw this battalier swoop down, and I'm not sure what he's eating there. Actually, she. It looks like a female. You can see a very broad, pale white panel on the wings. It suggests it's a female. Oh, I can't see what she's eating. It's just, we are very long with this shot. We're very far from it, so didn't want to go closer in order to disturb it. And that is arguably my favorite bird. Well, at least my favorite raptor, put it that way. It would be interesting to know what it's eating there. The male flew off. It was just perched on a tree just to the left, but he moved off and he seemed to be a bit wary of the car. And she then just sat there and she's just happy to eat along. There we go. Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. Hi, Tammy. Yeah, they often feed on the ground if they catch something there, especially if it's something that's too big for them to carry up and go and sit in a tree. And remember, they are part of the snake eagle family, so they do often take things on the ground, but it also could be, you know, a dead animal that was dead that they don't kill, so they also scavenge quite a bit. And oh, look at those colors. Isn't that unbelievable? So they do feed on the ground if it's maybe a larger thing that they can't. We're going to just inch a little bit forward, just for a moment, and we can get a nice little view on that. Like I said, it's a very long shot, you know, we're quite far, we didn't want to disturb it. So still in the tree there. All right, let's do it here. All right. It was another great morning. And like I mentioned this afternoon, Bika and I will be having a theme for our drive. And we're going to try and link everything that we get to that central theme. And you're going to have to wait until this afternoon to know what that is. So join us this afternoon for another live safari on WildEarth TV into the African wild.